Hi there and welcome to the first of Form Check Fridays, where I look at videos of people rowing and give my ideas on what they are doing well and what they could improve. Don't worry, I'm not about being mean. This is all a little bit of supportive information to try and help people get fitter, faster and stronger without injuring themselves. Now, this being the first week, I don't really have that many videos from people, real people, to look at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at one video that I used to make the little title sequence for Form Check Fridays, and then I'm going to take a look at me rowing, because it's all about me, the 2015 Crash Bs, which was before I started to really think about technique. Okay, right, so let's get on with our first video. Okay, here we go then. So this fella is quite helpfully wearing black and in pretty much silhouette. So it's a little bit tougher to see what his angle is like on his backside, but you can see here already that he's quite kind of tucked under and rolled. So he's got his tailbone underneath him rather than it being up on a good posture. But let's hit play and see what he's like as a full rowing stroke. Now, if you look at this, you can see that basically he's really upright. Now it's running in slow motion anyway, so it's kind of hard to see what's going on in terms of the amount of force that's coming from his legs. But he certainly doesn't seem to be pushing that hard with his legs when he's coming out. And all of this might have something to do with the fact that he's so vertical. I mean, look at the angle of his back here. It's pretty much straight as he comes into the catch. And then when you run back to the back of the stroke, there we go. There's maybe a little curve to it, but it's still very, very straight. Okay, so what's happening is that he's missing out on that the forward lean at the front of the stroke and then the backward lean at the back of the stroke, funnily, which not only helps to generate power as you swing that upper body from the front lean to the back lean, but also with that forward lean you get that feeling of the power surging up through your body, so that as you push with your legs, that all goes into your arms and into the stroke. And because he is so upright at the front, he's not getting that feeling of the power going through and that hang off the handle. Now again, if you go into the front of his stroke, here we go. Let's look at his shins next. Now, quite funnily, if I look at the angle of his shins, that's pretty much the angle that his back should be at. And the angle of his back is where his shins should be at. So he's kind of completely the wrong way around for this. So if he could think about getting the other way around, he's going to be in a better place. Now the question really comes down to why. What's going on here? Why is his shins forward and his back straight? And it comes back to what I said right at the beginning about his posture. The fact that he's sat back onto his backside. His hips are kind of pointing backwards and his tailbone is tucked underneath him. So he's completely rounded underneath himself. So what are the things that you can do to fix this then, right? So I'll give you an example of what he's coming forwards on the meaty part of his backside, tailbone tucked underneath him, hips pointing backwards, and this is kind of his approach as he comes into the front of the machine, all slouched down. If he were to just get up onto his sit bones, suddenly everything moves. You get that forward lean, ready to hang off the power as you press with your legs. You're able to get your shins up into that nice vertical position, and with the powerful back to take the force as you drive through the stroke. And then as you come into the back of the stroke, you're still up on your sit bones, and then you're able to then just swing back over your hips into that forward lean to come into the front of the machine. And that's kind of the key for what I'd say if I was with this guy. I'd say what you want to be doing is practicing that hinging backwards and forwards over your hips. So even if you sit at the back of the stroke, I like to put my hands on my stomach muscles just to kind of feel them engaging as I get to the back. And I know I'm over leaning backwards and forwards, but for this fella, he kind of probably needs to exaggerate a little bit to get used to the feeling of just tilting forwards and backwards over his hips. And then once he's ready with that, you can then start to look at the sequence, which again, I wouldn't go anywhere near a handle. I just make sure I'm in the front, I in slow motion come to the back, swing, pull in my hands, push out my hands to then engage that forward lean, bend the knees and then come to the front. And then push, swing, pull, and just do this all in slow motion, really concentrating on that hinge over the hips, holding the forward lean, and then hinge over the hips, swing in, push out the arms, hinge, and then comes forwards again. With the key being that you get the hands away, hinge over your hips, and then you do no more, okay? There's no more extra lean that goes on. before you, or once you start bending your knees, so you get to the front of the machine. So come into the back, move, hinge, roll. And that's going to sort out, because he's up on his sit bones and he's not tucked back, which is what happens as you come forwards, and that's what's going on with his shins going forwards. So all of this will get fixed just if he thinks about that hinge backwards and forwards over his hips. Okay, so that's our silhouetted man sorted. Let's get on to me at the Crash Bees in 2015. Okay, here we go then. So this is me at Crash Bees 2015. You can see I am here. I'm the one with the orange shoulders. In fact, I'll zoom in a little bit so that we get a closer look. Now, because we're slightly rotated on the angle here, it's a little bit harder. You can't really see where my hip angle and stuff are, but don't worry, there's enough to see here. Now, I'm gonna hit play here on the start and watch how I start. This is not particularly a form check, but just watch how I start. Okay, here we get ready to go. Guy next to me goes first. And then look at the little stabbing strokes I do. So I do 2, whoosh, whoosh, and then in. Because I'm a lightweight, I don't have that big power on the first stroke to instantly get up to my rate. So if I go bush, bush, bush as my start, I can really get up to where I want it to be. So I know a few people have asked about race starts, and that is the example of what I do for a race start, okay? Now, into my stroke technique then in this race. So if I pause, as I come forwards, just look at where my knees are. They're they're almost up in my throat. They're so high up now. Why is that? What's the reason that my knees are so high? Well, there's two things. One, well, there's a few things. Probably my foot stretcher's height was set too high. They're looking at it, I'm probably actually doing what the guy in the last video was doing and going a little bit too far forwards with the knees. But also, if you look at my back, you can really see that I've got this huge curve going on as I'm dipping right forwards into the front of the machine to try and get extra length. And you can see, in fact, where my hands are, that my hands are right up at the throat because I'm coming right into the front to try and get extra length. Now, this is something that I did when I first started because I didn't really know any better. And to be honest, I mean, this resulted in, I think it was like a 6:41, I think, for the 2K. So it's not like it was a bad race at all, a bad technique, but I suffered so much with intercostal strains and stress fractures in my ribs and things at the time. And I think a lot of it was because of this overlean and then the wrenching that was going on when you watch my strokes. So what to then look at the following in thing from this, if I go in slow-mo, is what's happening with my hands as I come to the front. So you can see as I come to the front of the machine here, I dip down and then I raise back up again. And what's happening here is that because of that raise, there we go, so I'm here, and then funnily enough, the point when I actually engage with the handle is pretty much now where I engage with the handle nowadays. My back is a lot straighter, I'm a little bit more up, my knees are probably in a little bit of a better position. I'm still not saying this is right, but it's better. And so I'm getting myself into the position where I want to be nowadays. But the difference is that it takes so long for me to get in and down and up into that. That's like a tenth, 2/10 of a second that I'm losing off every single stroke in this example because of that dip that comes into the front and then up. So that's like a good 1/10 of a second that I'm missing from every single stroke. But it also means, if this person can get out of the way, that by the time I do engage properly with the drive and things, I am actually starting to lean back rather than getting that hang off the handle. You know how I talk about that all the time, is that when you're at the front of the machine and you drive your feet in, you want to be holding that forward lean and hanging off the handle and then you swing. But because, oh, you get your backside out of my shot. There we go. Start me up again. Because I'm already doing that lean as I'm coming out from the front, then I'm losing lots of potential kind of hanging power off the handle, so I'm not able to actually get that leg drive in there. And that's the real big thing that I was missing back in with this form, John, like 6 years ago, was that real leg drive explosion. So it was all for me about an upper body. You can see as I'm coming into the back, let's see, look at the launch that happens of my back into that position, really deep layback. So I'm coming down, you can see that the hands are finishing up quite high. I've got these little bunny hands things going on. So it's all about my upper body towards like kind of the last it's kind of 3/4 almost of the stroke, rather than it being from the lower body and the legs from the front. So I'm still pushing with the legs, so I'm not as bad as like the guy before who was upright, but this is why I was ending up with the intercostal strains and things, is because I was taking it all through my upper body. Let's see if we keep on going. And that was kind of, to be honest, this is it for the next 6 minutes of the race, where this is my technique. But also look, in fact, this is a good example. Look at where my eyes are. I'm looking up, so I'm looking up at the bleachers. It's almost like I'm scared to look at the monitor. I'm looking, let's see if I'm kind of like that, looking up. Don't know if there was maybe a pretty girl in the crowd, who knows, but I'm certainly not looking anywhere near that way. And if I was looking, it looks like I've got lasers coming up my eyes now. If I was, let's clear that. If I was looking straight ahead, that would have helped to keep my upper body in that forward lean, whereas because I'm looking up, it really does. In fact, let's put me down for a second. The difference between being forwards and looking at the monitor means you can keep yourself in that nice plane going backwards and forwards. Whereas when you come down and you start to look up, it really does promote that sudden launch. And I think that between the dip, which again, that dip at the front then meant the raise automatically started to get my back going backwards anyway. So if I'm coming down and then already moving back, and then I start looking up as well, then I'm completely missing the backswing the way I want it as well. So it's these two examples are kind of the polar opposite extremes of how you can completely lose the engagement of your back. The first guy was completely vertical the entire time, so he had no backswing in the first place. Me, I thought I was doing really well. You could see from that, like again, from you can see this is me right down at the front, and just look at that curve of my back going in to try and get down and get more length out of the stroke. It's ridiculous when you look at it from this point of view. And it wasn't even giving me anything, because by the time I actually looked up in the sky and kind of had my arms raising up in the air again, that completely diffused that backswing that I had. I was no longer putting it into the stroke. It was more just about posture to maybe help with my leg drive. But then again, I wasn't engaging properly with the leg drive. So I'll scoot on to the end, and you can see exactly how I finish. So here we go then with the last. You can see, look at the look of on my face. Let's see where we are then. So I'm still really coming in, like my knees. Look at where my knees are up into my chest. I'm so dipped down that my back is completely collapsed. This is what I often talk about, how fatigue sets in and destroys your posture. This is totally what's going on here. My posture is awful here. I'm still doing. The rate is up, so the pain is on my face because the stroke rate is going up and things. I'm still looking up in well, actually, to be honest, I think my eyes are completely closed at this stage, and I'm not looking anywhere. I'm just thinking I want to get to a finish. The guy sitting behind me that was giving me encouragement is giving up on me now. He's like, this guy's coming in fourth. But yeah, so you can see me just coming into a close. I think we've only got about 10 seconds. And a massive yell to come to a finish, and I'm done. So there we go. That is the first of Form Check Fridays. Hopefully this wasn't too much of a ranting whiffle waffle as I went through both the silhouette guy and then me at Crash B. I find that it's useful to look at other people and analyze what they're doing in order to know more about your own stroke. So that if you video your own stroke, you can come back, you can look at it and you think, oh, you know what, actually that dip at the front, I'm doing that, that's causing me issues. Or with the silhouette guy, I have a straight back. Now, in both of these cases, I'm looking at the big picture. Okay, I'm looking at what's the main thing that's going wrong with the stroke, what could be causing an issue here. So the first guy, silhouette guy, was very much about that straight back and the posture. And then once he would fix the straight back and the posture, we then look at other things that might be going on in terms of sequencing and position and what's happening with the height of his arms and whatever. So there's more stuff I could have said about that. And there's certainly more stuff I could have said about my stroke as well. But at this stage, It's just about really trying to look at the big picture, trying to sort out what's going on there, fix them, and then move on, okay? So I'm not saying that those things are the only things wrong with both of those techniques, but as a first venture, that's what I would suggest to those folks. As I start looking at any video that you folks send in to me, I will try and be a lot more precise over it and say the big picture is, but the small picture is. But chances are by the time you fix the big picture, then other little bits come into it, so it's then a work in progress. So what I'm saying, what I should really say then is that by all means send in your videos to me so that I can have a look at in this section. Send them either, you can send a link as a comment on this video, you can send them to me on the Facebook group or via Messenger or Facebook, or you can email info@rowalong.com with a link to your video, whether it's either a YouTube link that you sent, or you can send it via, maybe use the WeTransfer.com file sending service. Send it to me that way. I'll download it and I will include it in a future form check Friday, okay? Right, so that's it. That's the first one done. I do hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you've got any comments, if you think I should talk more, should talk less, or should do something else in the video, whatever. Let me know. And just a quick final shout out and thank you to the folks that support me through Patreon, because without you, I wouldn't be able to afford the little piece of tech gadget that I use to be able to do this analysis, all right? So thank you so much for you folks. You're helping support RowAlong in ways that you probably hoped that you would be supporting RowAlong, so that's good news. Anyway, right, everyone, look after yourselves, stay safe, be well, bye-bye.